And so I'm so excited to be back here today. I'm so excited to, just let the energy flow through each and every one of us. Last year when I was here, I talked about RIP. You remember that? And it wasn't rest in peace. It was talking about recognizing the importance of people, recognizing the importance of who we all are and what sacrifices we made, what sacrifice they made, and how do we honor the sacrifices that they made, that sacrifice and desire for freedom, for peace, for world peace. And so as we begin today, I want to take time for all of us to set an intention. I want to take an opportunity for us to set a true in-depth intention of our own on how we can continue that fight. Because today I want to continue to talk about what I talked about last year, and that's what can we do to honor them? What can we do to continue the fight, the cause, the mission? Just because some of us may not have worn the uniform, we all wear the uniform. We all have a responsibility to continuing the cause. And so as we set intention, I know that for many, many years, the Asian gong, the bell, has always signified strength, peace, meditation, energy. The energy that I'm talking about is the energy that's going to flow through each and every one of us as we set these intentions for the day. And as we set our intention for today, I want you to feel the energy of the bell. I want you to think about someone that you may have lost, someone who you feel their halo shining through you. Someone who has touched your lives. Someone who you miss. Someone who you love. Someone who you cherish. Feel the energy. Set the intention. Feel their spirit. Energy. When we talk about what it is that we can do, how do we take the baton? How do we take that torch? What I want to talk about today is making the most of every moment of our lives. And we make the most of every moment of our lives by waking up and first setting a profound intention on what you want to do. See, you can't just go through life expecting things to happen. You have to make an intentional, progressive attitude toward making things happen. We can't just act like we're in the spectator seats and we're observing what's going on, because each and every one of us have a responsibility to fulfilling the cause, fulfilling the mission, fulfilling the obligations of what's going on in this world. We can't just sit back and say, well, that's happening outside of us. Because energy penetrates us all. The energy that penetrates through that bell, it didn't just hit you, it went through you. And when we set the intention, when we set the proper intention for peace, then we have to understand that it begins with me. It begins with me understanding what causes am I making to get the effects that I'm getting. Because life is strictly about causality. It's about causes and it's about effects. It's about setting intentions and really working earnestly to fulfilling those intentions. You know, when I first joined the military, I didn't really understand why I was joining the military. Because my whole philosophy of life is about causing world peace, working for world peace. Can you imagine? Just take a moment to think about this. A world without war. A world without war. We spend so much time figuring out wars, but we never set the intention for what can we do to create a world without war. We've never experienced it during our lifetime. But yet, we're the ones running with the torch right now. We're the ones that are responsible for it. So maybe if we just change parameters and change focus, we can understand that they died trying to establish a world without war, trying to establish peace. We have the baton. We have the torch. We must continue. Peace. And so as we start to look at a world without war, as I started looking at, well, why did you get into the military? I had to figure out, well, if you're going to join the military, then you have to align yourself with it in a manner that kind of honors my focus, my vision, my dream, my cause. And so I joined the military as a medical administrator. I said, rather than taking lives, I'd rather save lives. And I felt that it was important to go into the military because I wanted to make sure that I was a catalyst toward giving people a different view, a different opportunity. How do we visualize what our intention is? See, intention is important. And so I became a medical administrator, and I found that while I was in the Army, I was responsible for the medical facilities, and I was responsible for the logistics aspects of the medical facilities. When I joined that was in the Army. When I joined the Air Force, I got assigned to an Air Medical Evacuation Squadron. And the Air Medical Evacuation Squadron was responsible, extremely mobile unit. We were always gone. Before 9/11 and everything, we were always out there because our responsibility was making sure that we were delivering back home anyone who went out and had to come back different than we sent them. You see, my responsibility was managing the system that flew downrange and brought back all of our injured men and women back to their home, safe and sound. And our motto was called Best Care in the Air. Because when we would pick them up, we would make sure that we provided them the best possible care that they can have. In many cases, some of them didn't even know they were on the plane. Some of them didn't even know where they were. We were able to bring people back from the point of injury back to their home in 72 hours. We started saving more lives than ever before. We started to make it possible so that people can live where in the past they weren't even considered, they weren't even triaged. So this was a big responsibility. And as I started doing that, I kept always wondering what would happen to these folks when they get back home. Are we prepared to accept them? Are we prepared to honor them by making sure that they're taken care of? That they're able to take care of their own families, that they're able to do the things that they need to do with their lives? Can they continue living a progressive, positive constructive life. And so it was a noble cause, but because of the intentions and everything that I've made, I knew that my career was definitely protected. And I knew that as we make these causes, as we make these intentions, as we go out and we understand that life is cause and effect, and we have to make sure that we're making the proper causes to make sure we're getting the right effects. And it doesn't matter what happened before, because we start anew today. You see, every day we wake up, it's called a do-over. You know, every day you wake up, you don't have to worry about what you messed up before. Too many times we worry about kicking ourselves for the past things that we messed up. But if you ever seen that movie Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day is something that goes on in all of our lives. We just don't recognize it, because when you wake up, you learned something from yesterday that now you can fix today. Maybe I shouldn't have said that to someone. Maybe I shouldn't have spoke that way. Maybe I can change. See, part of making this intention is the willingness to self-improve. The willingness to transform yourself and understand it's not about what someone else is doing. See, we all heard of the thing called the Ten Commandments. And I've always wondered what was going on back then that made it so that someone had to be told, in a stone, burning bush and all of this stuff, thou shalt not kill. Did they really need to be told that? Thou shalt not steal. These are things that come, really, we know we should not do those things. We didn't need that on a block of stone or something. But what we really do need on a block of stone? One commandment. And I challenge and I employ each of you to embrace this one commandment. You ready? This is what you have. This is it. Thou shalt not judge. Thou shalt not judge. We spend so much of our lives judging other people's lives like we know how everyone else should live. Like we've done it so good. We're so perfect. I'm going to judge your life because you're not doing what I think you should be doing. See, again, this is about setting that intent. This is about understanding, let me focus on how can I improve myself? How can I be better at what it is that I want to do so I can set the example for others to follow? See, if we spent less time judging other people and more time judging ourselves, then we'd be able to embrace the diversities of the world. We can embrace all those diversities that are around us and realize that it's the diversities in our environment that make us who we are, that make us a better and a stronger person. And so I tell you to keep the faith. Keep the faith. And how do you keep the faith? Well, the F is for free your life of regret. Don't have any regret. Don't have any regret in your life. Understand that because you woke up, you get a do-over. Because you wake up, you get to work on what you messed up. Don't regret it, except the fact that you have this hand and you have to play it. This is your hand. Don't give in to age, or don't give in to thinking that it's too late for me, because guess what? You came out here today to honor those who it's not possible for them to do except through you. So when you make the most of each day, you have to live without regret. Free yourself of regret. Allow yourself permission to make mistakes. Honor yourself by saying that I got a do-over, I can fix this. Anyone that you have done something to that you feel you may regret, fix it. Fix it. The A is accept our diversities. Accept the fact that we have diversified thoughts, we have diversified lifestyle. You know, it was funny because we don't really know all the answers. We may think we do, but my children taught me that I don't. It was my children that taught me that, okay, I'm a colonel in the military, and I go out, and when I go to work, I could say, get this done, it gets done. I could say, I need this done, it gets done. I could say, do this, it gets done. I go home, and I say, get this done, it doesn't get done. I say, do this, it'll do it. I mean, it just didn't work. It was not working at all. And then I realized that I had to learn from them. I know a lot about leadership. I teach leadership, but I will tell you that the best leadership that I've ever gotten, the most important leadership that I've ever received, leadership for me began at home. Leadership for me said, how do you lead your own family? If you can't lead your family, you're not going to lead anyone else. You buckle your knees. You okay? Take your time, take your time, take your time, take your time. Take your time. She's okay. She's okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let her sit for a minute. Let her sit. She'll get up on her own when she's ready. She's okay. It's a funny thing because my son was in the ROTC and the same thing happened to him. When you buckle your knees, you get tight up, but you got to give him time to get it together. She's good. She's good. I have some water. Is there a bottle of water over there? You got some? Okay, they're getting some water. Awesome. Give her a hand, please. Let her sit down. Get on her shoe. She's good. And so I was talking to my kids, I was talking to my son, and he came home, and I told you this story last year about the fact that he came home and he told me that he wanted to join the military. Caught me completely off guard, didn't understand, didn't know where that came from. And then he said, well, Dad, I'm going to join the Air Force. And that even threw me back even further. And then he said, Dad, I want to be like you. I want to be like you. And so as he started talking about that, and as he started talking about how he wanted to take his career on and he wanted to be in the military, I realized that I wanted to kind of give him guidance on what to do if he was going to join the military. And I said, listen, go do something that gets you in the airplane, you fly around, be a load master, or, he said, I'm not going to become an officer, I'm not going to college first, I want to just go right in after high school. So I started giving him all this information of what he should do, and he said, well, I want to be security forces. I said, no, you don't want to be security forces. This is what security forces does. They do this. All they do is they guard gates and all. I'm trying to give him all the. See, we don't know all the answers. I thought I did. I mean, I did 26 years. I know something about the military. I knew nothing. He goes in. He becomes security forces. After he becomes security forces, he calls me up and he tells me I got my first duty station. I said, well, where are you going, son? He says, have you heard of a place called Hickam? I said, yeah, right. Where are you going? He said, no, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm like, really? You're going to Hawaii? He said, yeah. So he goes to Hawaii, makes his first tour in Hawaii. Then his second tour that he does, he calls up and said, I'm going to Andrews Air Force Base. I said, you're going to Andrews? He's coming back home. So he comes to Andrews, and then he becomes what's called a Raven. Anyone know what the Ravens are? Okay, the Ravens are this very high-grade security force that the Air Force has to protect their assets. So they go out, they train them. These are the guys that you see by all the airplanes and everything else and all this stuff. So he becomes a Raven, and then I get another phone call to Daddy, who knows everything about, everything. He said, Dad, I need suits. I said, why do you need suits? He says, well, I'm going to be flying on Air Force One and Air Force Two, and they don't want us in uniform. I said, you're going to be doing what? He said, yeah. So he's flying all over the world, where I thought I told him don't go into this career field because he wouldn't get to travel. He's traveling all over the place, Air Force One, Air Force Two, doing all of this stuff. And then his next duty station, he's always wanted, since he went into the military, once he joined, he said, I want to be one of those instructors, those TIs, those drill instructors. And he kept applying to become a drill instructor. And so today he's a drill instructor down at Lackland Air Force Base doing his thing, got his big brim hat on and everything. And he taught me that I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. And see, we don't have all the answers. We may think we do, and we try to tell people how they ought to live, but we need to stop judging people's lives. We need to stop telling them that they shouldn't do this and they should do this. We should honor their path and understand we took our own path and we made mistakes along the way, but we did okay. And we must think we did okay enough to tell someone else how to do theirs. And if you don't like the way that you did your path and you're trying to tell someone don't do it the way you did it, then maybe that's really not the thing to do either, because they might be able to do it differently. So accept those diversities in people. And the reason that I want us to understand all of this that we need to do on a daily basis, because we also have to understand that the suicide rate in the military has increased tremendously. The suicide rate of our youth has increased tremendously. And we all feel like we're hopeless in regards to how can we correct it? What can we do about it? Our hands are tied behind our back. It's something that's out of our control. There's nothing at all that we can do. But yes, there's plenty that we can do, and it's about keeping the faith and make every moment count. Because we are responsible. And once we feel that we're not responsible and that we tie our hands behind our backs and we think that someone else tied them, but we do because we don't want to take a path of being non-judgmental, because a lot of times when we start judging people instead of accepting people, then we don't fully understand what it is that we need to do. And we don't fully understand the things that we need to do to help these other folks that may not disclose that they may be suicidal, but the fact is they just need someone to listen, they need someone to care, they need someone to be compassionate. The I in faith is about maintaining that intentional behavior. Every day when you wake up, you don't know if that's the last day you're going to wake up, so make the best of that day. And be intentional about the things you do. Know that through compassion, through caring, through your heart, you can touch someone's life, and you may prevent someone from doing something that they may have wanted to do. You don't know who you're touching when you go out. You have no idea what energy you have that can change someone. But if you change yourself and not be so judgmental of someone, you can make a difference. We all can make a difference. The T is to treat people the way that we want to be treated. We need to continue to treat people with kindness, with compassion, with love, not with anger, not with aggression. The H is hope, harmony. Create a harmonious environment in your community, in your neighborhood. And if you have a neighbor that you don't get along with, work on intentionally getting along with that person. Continue to work to get along with that person. Even though they may not accept it, it's a cause that you make that makes the difference. Some of the other things that I want to share that are going to be strategically planned for you to make a difference and make the best and the most out of each day is choose to improve over pleasure. Sometimes we spend so much time trying to please ourselves instead of improve ourselves. Self-improvement is important. Choose to be serious effort. Take serious effort about the things that you do over resignation and saying, well, not today. Really be serious about the things that you want to see happen. Be the change in this world that you want to see. Be that change that you want to see. Dare rather than retreat. Force yourself to go in this direction. Don't think that just because everyone's going this way, you got to go that way. Act with compassion instead of arrogance. Have courage rather than fear. Choose progress over stagnation. Compassion instead of arrogance. How are you in that area? My daughter comes home and she starts talking about things that she wants to do, and she's going to do this and she's going to do that and she's going to do this, and she doesn't ask me, what do you think? And so I've learned not to say what I think, because she's not asking for that. And I've got to honor the fact that this is her path, and even though I may think it's a crazy idea, if she doesn't ask for my opinion, I got to learn to stop giving my opinion. She wants to go her path. She wants to demonstrate that I got this, and I've got to honor that. And that was part of my growth. That was part of my growth. And so I'd be more compassionate, encouraging her, instead of saying that ain't going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, so I chose to be more compassionate. Unity over disharmony, joy over pessimism, action over indecision. That's what we have to do, take action. Take action to make a difference in someone's life. Understand that we can affect this suicide rate. When you go to someone, greet them with your heart. Thank them for their service and encourage them. They need that. Laughter over despondence. Stand up for truth and justice. Choose cheerfulness over gloom. Encouragement over envy. Enthusiasm over anger. Demonstrate tolerance over authoritarianism. Hope instead of despair. Take action instead of complaining, and engage in dialogue, not violence. Engage in dialogue, not violence. See, we think that in order to fix things, we got to force our way through, and then we teach our kids, y'all need to talk things out. You shouldn't be fighting in school. You shouldn't be doing this. Everything that our kids are doing in school, yes, we as adults are doing too, and we don't even recognize it. We'll rather go fight instead of talk. When someone starts talking, they're saying, that's weak. But we forget our intent of a world without war. You're not going to get a world without war if you're continually focused on fighting and putting those two words, war and peace, in the same sentence. It doesn't work. Challenge yourself instead of giving up. Take personal responsibility for the victory rather than criticizing others. Challenge yourself instead of giving up. Take personal responsibility of your actions rather than criticizing others. Our efforts that we do are going to change the world. Our efforts that we're going to do can make a complete difference. I want you guys to understand that it's up to us. We have the power to make a difference. We have the power to change. We have the power to encourage people's lives. We have the power to change the suicide rate. Each and every one of us with our hearts. The energy that flows through this bell, the energy that flows through our lives, we have to understand our positive energy makes a difference. And I want to close with this. And it says, what will matter? Because when we talk about how can I make a difference today and make every single moment count, realizing that this may be the last time I may see someone. Has there been a time where you saw someone and you get a phone call a few days later and they're gone? We have to learn to make every moment count. And so this is by a man named Michael Josephson, and it's called What Really Matters. Ready or not, someday it all will come to an end. There will be no more sunrises, no minutes, no hours or days. All the things you collected, whether treasured or forgotten, will pass to someone else. Your wealth, fame, and tempered powers will silver into irrelevance. It will not matter what you owed or what was owed you. Your grudges, your resentments, your frustrations, your jealousies will finally disappear. So too will your hopes, ambitions, plans, and to-do lists will expire. The wins or losses that once seemed so important will fade away. It won't matter where you came from or what side of the tracks you lived on at the end. It won't matter whether you were beautiful or brilliant. Even your gender or skin color will be irrelevant. So what will matter? What will you value in your life? How will your life be measured? What will matter is not what you bought, but what you built. Not what you got, but what you gave. What will matter is not your successes, but your significance. What will matter is not what you've learned, but what you taught. What will matter is every act of integrity, compassion, courage, sacrifice that enriches, empowers, or encourages others to emulate your example. What will matter is not your competence, but your character. What will matter is not how many people you knew, but how many will feel the lasting loss when you're gone. What will matter is not your memories, but the memories that will live on in those who loved you. What will matter is how long you will be remembered, by whom, and for what. Living a life that matters doesn't happen by accident. It is not a matter of circumstance, but it's a matter of choice. Live a life that matters. Make every moment count. Live as though this is the last time, last moment you have to make a difference. After the ceremony today, I want to invite you to come up, think of someone or people that you've lost with the proper intention. Ring the bell 3 times. Send that energy of your new resolved intent to make a difference, understanding that everything that you do at this moment will affect the past, will affect the present, will have a tremendous difference on the future. Ring the bell of peace, love, commitment, and remember, by honoring those, you must be willing to honor yourself, to accept the fact you now have the torch. Run with it. Thank you.